Shalom Akim. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone who teach and rule well. And Shalom to the sincere Akim who spread truth and sincerity. Shalom. The topic of this video is going to be that our people are waking up. And what led me to make this video is because, today, after I went to the gym, I went to the supermarket, and one of the people that worked there, I was able to determine by the way that she was dressed that she knew that she was a Hebrew Israelite. Why? Because she was wearing a long skirt all the way to her ankles with fringes and a border of blue. So that was kind of a conversation started for me, because she had to check on my groceries, and then I asked her, like, oh, so you know that you're a Hebrew Israelite? And she said yes. And I asked her how she knew that. She said, well, according to my basically according to my forefathers. So I asked, like, oh, so you do know that you're a descendant of the enslaved people, referring to the in her case referring to the so-called Negroes. So yeah, what I want to go into in this lesson is the fact that our people are waking up, and the fact that she wore the border of blue, with the fringes, is something that was in the law, statute, commandments given unto Moses in the book of Numbers. And other than that, man, I'll just let the Spirit move. But this is Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. So here the Most High says towards us, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and those scattered among the heathen nations, looking like the heathen nations, but his lineage that's going back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob according to their father's seed line, that they are a stiff-necked people. Why is that? Because the Most High gave unto us the law, statute, commandments, and He said if we would able to listen to His voice and keep the commandments, then we will be blessed. But the reason that He's calling us stiff-necked is because time after time, we didn't want to listen to Yahawashi and Yahawashi. Let me first go to the book of Psalms. This is Psalms chapter 147 and verse 19. He showed His word unto Jacob, His statutes and His judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for His judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord Yahawah. So the things that pertain to the scriptures, that's given unto the Israelites. And verse 20 talks about how the Most High has not dealt so with any other nation upon the earth. Not with the so-called white man, whose biblical nationality is Esau. Not with the Arabs, whose biblical nationality are the Ishmaelites. Not with the Moabites, who are known in this day and age as the Chinese people. Not with Ammon, the so-called Japanese people, and so forth and so forth. See, because they don't have the understanding, concerning Yahawashi and Yahawashi. You see, they don't even believe in Yahawashi and Yahawashi unless, they're directly faced, with the strength and power of the Heavenly Father. Just like, the nations that feared us because of what the Heavenly Father did for us when we came out of Egypt. You see, that will be a moment that they would, understand that we have a certain power behind us. But other than that, man, these people are following their own gods, man. Like it also says in Psalms, 95 or 96, verse 5. Let me grab it. This is Psalms 96 in verse 5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord Yahawah made the heavens. You see, so what these other nations are worshipping are mere idols, man. You know, like statues, you know, carved out of wood or made out of silver or stone or gold or, you know, other materials, man. You know, that have no power. As you go into the epistle of Jeremiah, it talks about all these things, man, that hold no power. You know, they might have a scepter in their hand or a dagger or something else, but if thieves and robbers come, they're not even able to defend themselves. You know, they get stolen. The priests that, have the duty or the office concerning their idols, even lock up the temples, otherwise thieves, you know, might break in and might break through and steal. You see. But going back to Psalms chapter 147 and verse 20 again, he hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known him. Praise ye the Lord Yahawah. And one of the other judgments that this earth has faced, but what these other nations don't understand is, for instance, the flood that took place upon the earth. You know, these different nations call it the Great Deluge. They might have their story concerning what happened, you see, but we, the Israelites, you know, we have been given the true understanding of the Heavenly Father, you see. We understand what happened during that time of the great flood upon the earth. We know the reason, you know, we know what took place during that time, how the Most High made sure that seed was preserved upon the earth, both of fowl, fishes, you know, basically the animals and both the people, man. So going back to Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30 again, and it says, for I knew that they would not hear me. You see, we would not listen to the Heavenly Father, because this is stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. You see, and what also happened when we transgressed the law, statutes, commandments, you know, the curses came upon us. And because the curses came upon us, you know, we were scattered among the four corners of the earth. We had to serve captivity, you know, multiple times. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahawah thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses should come upon thee and overtake thee. You know, and a curse is something evil or bad that has come upon a person. In our case, you know, a bad situation or evil that came upon us as a whole nation. You see. Let me see. Let me jump to verse 68. You know, because in Baruch it spoke about, you know, concerning the land of our captivity, you know, which the captivity represents slavery, which is something that we throughout history have served multiple times. But the most recent one, you know, that we can recollect, you know, is basically the time of the transatlantic slavery and the enslavement of the Native Americans and the Latinos, so-called Native Americans and Latinos. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord Yahawah shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. So here the Most High warns us is that he's gonna bring us, you know, into Egypt again. If you go into the word Egypt, in the Hebrew it's Matazarium, which that goes into being in straits. And where were we in straits, you know, in the first time? Concerning the first time, that was in Egypt, where we served slavery. This is Exodus chapter 20, starting at verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord Yahawah thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So Egypt represents the house of bondage, which the bondage goes into slavery. If we go back to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68, it says, and the Lord Yahawah shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. So we would go into slavery again, but this time it would be with ships. You know, and if you think about the enslavement of our people, you know, in the past, let me say 500-600 years, you know, that happened with ships. You see the transatlantic slavery, you know, when Christopher Columbus sailed to South America, you know, our people were put on ships, man, and eventually, you know, brought to other places. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. We would not see the land of Israel anymore, you know, after a certain moment of time. And the last time that our people, you know, really seen the land of Israel, you know, was around 70 AD, you know, as a people that really understood that they were the Israelites, man, as a collection of people. You see, we would no longer be, you know, in our land. You know, after 70 AD, you know, we started to lose the understanding that we was the Israelites, man. You see. And it says, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. You know, to add on what I just said concerning 70 AD, you know, when 70 AD took place, when the Romans invaded Jerusalem, you know, concerning the siege of Jerusalem, our people, you know, were either, you know, killed by the sword, some were taken captive, but also if you go into the book of From Babylon to Timbuktu, you know, over 1 million so-called black Hebrews, you know, Jews, you know, fled into Africa, you see. And after, you know, like 1550 years, you know, these people were, you know, taken captive and eventually taken to America, you know. And there they were sold unto, you know, the enemies for bondman and bondwoman, which goes into slaves. And no man shall buy it, which means nobody would be able to redeem us from the situation that we was in. You see? Because that's something that would eventually happen through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, you know, once Yahawashi is able to redeem us. You see, from the situation that we're in right now. Because right now we're serving in the revived Roman Empire. Right now we're still in captivity, man, under the so-called white man. You see? And if you don't believe that, man, you have a... and in Dutch we have a BSN, or, you know, Sophie number and things like that. So you're still a slave to the system, you know, to Esau. But going back to Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30, and it says, for I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities they shall remember themselves. You know, and this first and foremost started in America. You know, the Spirit came upon Abba Bivens, who used to be part of the commandment keepers, you know, to go into the New Testament. He was able to break down Deuteronomy chapter 28, by which he was able to understand that the curses first and foremost came upon the so-called Negroes. You know, because you know, they had to first be woken up. You know, Judah had to be woken up first, you see. And through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, by the way of the internet, you know, this truth, you know, which through the spirit and power of Yahawashi is given unto the other apostles, GMS on down, you know, spread in the four corners of the earth. You see, so where we are located right now as well, and serving our last captivity, that we are waking up as well. You see, verse 31, and shall know that I am the Lord Yahawah, their power, for I give them an heart and ears to hear. So the Most High would give us back the understanding to understand who He is as a power, because He is the power of the nation of Israel. You see, because He took that all away, man. He took that all away. Let me first go to the book of Jeremiah. This is Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. You see, so we would, lose the understanding of our heritage, man. That we are the Israelites, our law, statute, commandments, how certain things, had to be done, within Israel. We lost all that, man. We lost the Hebrew tongue, we lost the power to call upon the names of the Heavenly Father, and eventually also, to call upon the name of His beloved Son, because there's only one way to get to the Father, which is through Yahawashi. You see, and it says, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. You see, so that goes into slavery, man. If you are a servant, you are a slave, basically. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever. This is pursuing to the fact that we transgress the law, statutes, commandments. You see, and that anger of the Heavenly Father is not going to burn forever, but for a very long time. Which, we're almost out of this shithole. You see? Let me see. Something else that I want to grab. Hosea 1. It's Hosea chapter 1 and verse 9. Then said the Most High, call his name Lo Ami. In the Hebrew that's La'imya, which means not my people. For ye are not my people, and I will not be your power. So Hosea, he was commanded by the Heavenly Father, to basically take unto himself a wife of whoredoms, which pertains to a prostitute. And with her he begat children, and one of that child, he was to call Lo Ami, or La'imya, which was a shadow of things to come, because eventually the Most High would turn his back towards us. Verse 10, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered, and it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living power. You see, and this first and foremost, started in America, and eventually, the understanding came back to us of who he was, amongst the four corners of the earth. Verse 11, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together, and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come about the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. You see, but eventually, we will be called back, the sons of the living power, which is, basically, Yashar Allah, man. That understanding would come back. He that is the prince of the power. Back in Baruch chapter 2 and verse 32. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. You see, which name of the Heavenly Father is Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Verse 33. And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the ways of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord Yahawah. You see, so we would come back to the understanding of who we was as a nation. We would understand what our forefathers had done by transgressing the law, statutes, commandments of Yahweh, Yahawashi, and through the Lord and Savior Yahawashi, we have received grace, which is time period that the Most has mercy upon us, through the Lord Yahawashi, so that we were able to make mistakes and grow within His truth, so that we can become better and better, Yahawashi Himself said, be perfect as my Father in heaven is perfect, which is something that we're not able to obtain, but that's something that we should strive for, you see. And pursuing to the, to the woman, in the store, she was wearing, she was wearing modest clothing actually. She did not have the head wrap on. She didn't have her head covered, but she did have a very modest apparel on underneath her work shirt. You see, but she had a long not dress, like skirt. She had a long skirt all the way to her ankles. So that's the way that our females actually are supposed to behave themselves. Let me see if I can quickly grab that. So this is First Peter 3 and 3. Whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting of hair and wearing of gold or of putting on of apparel. So basically the female not being modest actually, because you're gonna do all the extras. Plaiting your hair goes into the braiding. Wearing a lot of jewelry and things like that. Verse 4, but let it be the hidden man of the heart in that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of meek and a quiet spirit, which is in the sight of the Most High for great price. You see? So it's not about the outward appearance of the female, but concerning how she's from within. Because eventually, man, the Most High does not look on the outward appearance, but on the spirit. It says, verse 5, for after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in the Most High adored themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbandmen. So the way that our females actually behave towards, their man, was with meekness, being shamefaced, with sobriety. They were very humble females, man. So that's something that the Most High rather has than that you are going to be exposing yourself in a way that's very extravagant as a female. But I'm looking up another one. Yes, this is 1 Timothy 2 and 9. In like manner, also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. You see, so it's the way that they put out themselves in their mannerism and the things that they do, instead of the way that they show themselves to be. You see. So the only thing that I would basically not really how you say that, recommend her is concerning the fringes and the border of blue that she had on her skirt, because to be quite honest, we're still in captivity. We're being surrounded by our enemy, the so-called white man, which is biblical nationality is Esau Edom. He's also being known as Satan, the devil that the Bible talks about. You see, so it would not be the wisest thing to, show to the world, that you are a Hebrew Israelite man. because the wisest thing to do, to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove, is to understand the law, such commandments. You try to do them to the best of your ability. In her case, she had the fringes with the ribbon of blue, but to wear that towards the job is not the wisest thing to do, actually. See, because then they understand, what you are, what you follow. If those people look more into it, they might come to the understanding, that I say that you're against them, which can work against you. You see, because I also asked her, like, which group do you follow? You follow IOIC, GOCC, GMS. She said she didn't really follow anything. She basically found it out herself, which most of the brothers and sincere sisters in this truth, they at one point in time came across the truth as well. Well, they came before the doors of the truth, like, and then there's we have all those groups available, IOSC, GUCC, what is it, Sakari, GMS, of course, and then you also have these bug outs that follow their own doctrine and things like that. But I actually lost the point I tried to make. Never mind. But concerning her and the fringes, man, that's not something that I would recommend anybody to wear towards the job. Not with t-shirts with the fringes they're on, or the skirts with the fringes they're on. Of course, when you are with like-minded people, you can do these things in the house and things like that. But like I said, man, we're still, in captivity. And these things can be used against you, man. There are certain brothers that colleagues found out what they did, lost their job. Which that's something that could happen to anybody in this truth. You see, but you still got to keep on pushing. But this is Numbers chapter 15 and verse 37. And the Lord Yahawah spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout the generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And it shall be unto you for a fringe, that ye may look upon it, and remember all the commandments of the Lord Yahawah, and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go whoring. You see, so the fringes that are, underneath the garment with the ribbon of blue, they're supposed to remind us that every time we look upon it, that we're supposed to keep the law, statutes, commandments of Yahawashi. In this day and age, we do that to the best of our abilities, because we understand that we cannot keep them 100%. You see, we were not created in that way by the Heavenly Father. Not yet, because the wicked heart that's within us, has been there since the time of Adam. You see. And through the Lord Yahawashi, who is the mediator, we have forgiveness of sins. So we're not going to be judged according to the law, statutes, commandments. Because in correct Romans, the 8th chapter says, there's now no condemnation for those that are in Yahawashi. Which the condemnation goes into the punishment or judgment that otherwise would be upon us. You see, he's the mediator because he is allowing us to transition, from the law, statutes, commandments, and the judgment that would be upon us, and cover us until the time, that we're going to receive that new covenant, which means the law, statutes, commandments is going to be in our inward parts. You see. So yeah, so like I said, it's not the wisest thing to portray to the outside world in public, like that you're a Hebrew Israelite. Because I was quick to judge, like, hey, I see the ribbon of blue, I see the fringes, so you understand that you're a Hebrew Israelite. You see. So yeah, back in Baruch chapter 2 and verse 34, and I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And another thing that I want to bring out is the fact that she understood, who her forefathers was, man. You see, she understood who their forefathers was, man, which that's a beautiful thing, because verse 33 says, "For they shall remember the ways of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord Yahawah." So her understanding came back to what actually went wrong in the past, and she, Rawchaa, is trying to improve in her ways, man. Which that's a beautiful thing. Rawchaa, eventually she finds the truth according to GMS, because we understand at GMS that we have the truth and nothing but the truth. We have the 100% truth. You see, we can see and discern through the Spirit, who has the Spirit upon them and who does not. You see, so this is the book of John. Let me say it different. 1 John, because the book of John is a different book that I want to grab. This is 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1. It says, "Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, because many false prophets are gone out into the world." You see, so you have to try the spirits, of those men that proclaim to be the prophets of the Heavenly Father. And how are you able to do that? By discerning whether they are teaching the correct things according to the scriptures. You see, are they going into the correct breakdowns? Are they prophesying the correct things? Are they talking about the Karakma, which is the RFID microchip? Are they talking about the time of Jacob's trouble? Are they talking about that the Third World War is coming? Are they hiding certain things because they are according to the 5013C agreement? All those things, man, are telltale signs that they are false prophets. You see, this is 1 John 4 and 13. "Hereby know we that we dwell in him and he in us, because he hath given us of his Spirit." So according to that Spirit, we're able to discern if they're walking in the ways of the Heavenly Father. Which Yahawashi himself said in John 6 and 63, that the words that I speak, they are spirit and they are life. You see, so according to the scriptures, we're able to discern who is walking in the ways of the Heavenly Father. Back to Baruch 2 and verse 34 again. "And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it, and I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished." So the Most High is finally going to fulfill his promise, unto our forefathers, man. And we are the ones, Rawchaa, to receive that. The kingdom, the land of Israel, which used to be the land of Canaan, eventually going to be immortal. Spiritual powers that, we understand through the scriptures we're going to receive as well. You see, the Most High is only going to increase us, man, which means he's going to make us better and better and better, man. We're not going to lack anything. Verse 35. "And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their power, and they shall be my people, and I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them." You see, so that Most High is going to make an everlasting agreement with the nation of Israel, man. You see, and he's going to be our God forever. He's going to be our power forever. We're going to be his people, which is the nation of Israel, Yashar Allah. And he's not going to kick us out of the land again, man. See? So, Rawchaa, this lesson was edifying, pertaining to our people are waking up, which, me personally, I've never really, seen a female or a woman, because I don't really know how to reference her concerning that. But let's say this female, I've never seen a female at her job, wearing fringes in person. So, Rawchaa, we're going to be out of this shithole quickly, you see. But, with that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of great Millstone, who teach and rule well. And shalom to the sincere Akim, spreading truth and sincerity. Shalom.